My quarry knows no boundary, nor do I. For I will hunt these squirrels until the day I die.
Oh, there's my phone. Freaking finally, man. Been hunting since daylight, ain't seen no rat action, none. I've seen some squirrels cruising on the ground, like nothing that I can get to. I've got 4 killed. I just seen a 5-pack chasing right over here. I'm gonna get suited up, get my pack, get my camera, get everything got together, finish this jerky. Head over here and get my last one. Like the video, man. It helps me a lot. Channel's going nuts. Subscribe. Share the videos with your buddies. Tell them about this. There needs to be more squirrel action on YouTube. It doesn't need to get left in the dust. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to head over here and try to get my last one. Enjoy the video. Late season squirrel hunting can be a struggle. It can be. You can walk ridge to ridge and not see nothing. A lot of times the weather's bad, it can be windy. It can be rough. You can have the best hunt of your life or 5 bad hunts in a row. But let me tell you a little bit about that. This is tip number 1. As you move in through November, even more into December, and then around here in Illinois, in January they're rutting. So instead of there being a couple squirrels on each ridge, a lot of times you'll find herds of them. There'll be 5 over here. You might shoot a couple out of that, and then hopefully you have enough ground, because you might have to go 20 acres the other way, and you might find 8 of them running together. But in between there, a lot of times it's slow. And a couple of my sits in the woods today, I would see just like a random cruising buck, just like a deer. Just not stopping for nothing. He was just running down logs, sniffing as he was going. So, feast or famine, and the tip is hunt somewhere in the rut where you have enough land to cover. Big public land tracts, for example. Prime for this time of year. just said how I heard that hawk fly up through this valley, setting squirrels off like crazy. I was making my way over here after I picked up that fox squirrel. Came over this little rise, seen one on the ground. Shot him. See another one move around up in this tree. Moved around on him. And I came creeping up this four-wheeler trail. And he was tucked in as tight as he could to that branch, hiding from me. I got just far enough to where I could see him, his back, and waited him out. I did a little barking sequence at him. And right after that, he got to moving his head around, looking. Zapped him. I believe it's a headshot. Shoulder shot. Alright, tip number 2. Have yourself a good rifle. Rifle better than this is advised. No, I'm just kidding. I like this 10-22 a lot. It's the best automatic I've ever had. But why should you have a rifle? And why is this a tip? Well, unless it's rained recently, it's hard to walk. Meaning it's loud. Leaves are crunchy. And early in the morning, everything's frozen. Crunch, 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 crunch. You can't get close to them. If you can shoot 50 to even to 100 yards, I mean, man, you turn your hunt around. So 17 HMR bolt gun, really dialed in 22 long rifle, bolt gun, or good automatic where you can touch out and get them and don't have to worry about stalking up to them so close. Perfect. Tip number 2, get you a good shooting rifle that you can reach out and touch them. What a freaking deal that was, man. Just kept stinging them and stinging them and stinging them. Freaking 22s and branches. Whew. Man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he shot up. Tip number 3. Late season, if it's really cold, a lot of times they don't get out of bed early, and it's kind of a slow release. You know, in the summer when you're hunting, man, that sun comes up, they're bam, 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 just rocking to the nut trees quick. You know, on your average weather day in the summer or early fall. This time of year, seems like a few come out early, a little bit later more come out, a little bit later more come out, and then when the ground thaws, if it does get warm enough on that day, on a late season day, if it does get warm enough, then when it thaws, they move a lot better when it thaws. They know it's thawed. They live here every day. They know what's going on. So be willing to hunt for a while. If you get out there early, I started hunting this morning before daylight. Got out in the woods. It's like 2:30 now. Just got my last one. It was a rather tough day, and I didn't shoot the best. But, you know, it's kind of a slow release of squirrels out of the dens and out of the nests. And I did notice while I was hunting, if I did spook one, it only had to go 20 yards before it was in a den or less. So this tip number 3 is slow release. Be willing, if you can, to hunt the majority of the day to get your limit. Well, my last one is dead and stuck in the fork of the tree that I shot him in. Can't win for losing today. Right up there. Right up there is his head. he is stuck. I'm going to try to shoot him from this side in the head and push him over the back side of that tree. Got him. Yeah, I had to give him a little facelift, get him lifted off there. Grazed the bark on the first shot, right next to us. That second shot, hammered him, flipped him over backwards. All right, tip number 4. If you see the 5-pack or the 8-pack or a herd of squirrels chasing each other up and down a tree this late season like that, do not be afraid to push the envelope and sneak in, even though when you got to be a little too loud or a little too out in the open, because what you have going on is a female or two is dropping scent all over that tree or logs, wherever they're at, that ridge, whatever's going on, and then buck squirrels don't want to leave it. It's just like doe deer and bucks. They might go in a V of a tree, slip around the back side for a little bit, but get up in there where they're at and let it come back alive. Now, if you get up in there and you don't go silent, let's say you keep making a bunch of noise and keep spooking them, that ain't gonna work. But if you get in there and you be whisper quiet, once you sit down or get your gun ready in the direction that they're at, you might get one. You might get your whole limit out of that herd, depending on how good you can shoot. Tip number 5, last one for this video. This is a tip that is mainly going to benefit guys that routinely hunt the same areas or that are somewhat familiar with that area. Because late season, you know, you've heard all these first 4 tips, but you know, sometimes there just isn't as much movement for whatever reason. And this is the time where you reach back in the memory bank or your online mapping app, whatever you use, and if you have them marked, and go back to where you know the squirrels have denned in the past. Especially if you hunted them last year late season, you would go back there. But you know, that's common sense. But if you were here in August and man, squirrels were coming from over here at daylight heading over this way to feed, then you would know that over here is where they were denned all night and they fed out that way. So where would you go? You'd go back over here to start out. Just maybe spend all day there. So go back to where you know the den trees are and be patient if they're not moving. Late season, sometimes they just don't move. Sometimes they move like crazy. Sometimes they're rutting. But if everything fails, and if you know where they're at, go to the den trees. If you don't know where they're at, look for the biggest concentration of nests in trees. Look for holes in the trees. I've seen holes down south, or trees down south, they'd have 15 holes in them. Anyway, if nothing's working, go to the den trees and be patient. Tip number 5. Thank you guys for watching.